Okay, everyone. Welcome.
Okay, everyone.
There's my voice. Welcome, everyone, to round number 9 of the Race Spec F1 Esports series. Tier number 1 today. So we're here in Silverstone. You join us on the formation lap. LR Calzo, the Red Bull, managed to snatch pole in the last seconds from VRT Chappelle, who's already on the grid, presumably for contract with Chain Game, who got P3, a good showing from himself, but Calzo leads them through the final corner as we round up to the line, as the drivers will have warmed up their tyres as much as possible at this moment. And here we go. Drivers lined up on the grid. We wait for the Williams of V Todd qualifying in the last position. 9 drivers. We have 4 today. Just going to wait for the lights. 3, 4, 5 red lights ahead of the drivers. It's lights out and away we go for round number 9 of the Race Spec F1 Esports Tier 1. The Red Bull of Calzo gets away very well. He leads us into turn 1. Further back, it's side by side between Chain Game and Chappelle. It looks like the Haas is just about edged his way forward, but Chappelle going to come back down the inside. Can't quite make that one work. The Haas leads ahead of Chappelle. Calzo pulling a gap in the lead, and there's some contact further back. That is between Ole and I believe Todd, who may have picked up some damage. There's a Renault there going off track. The biggest loser from here is Craig Tommy, who's dropped down, and it's all very tight down here at the bottom pack. Drivers eager to make up positions. There's Craig going down the inside, making a move up Brooklands on V Todd as he drops down yet again. But a bit of contact there. I'm not sure if there would have been damage for any of the drivers, but you can see from the start here the position changes. Here we have Kurbold in the Ferrari, who's quite close to the squabbling 2 ahead. Looks like the Sauber of Onole and Craig are battling through Maggots and Beckett's. Craig looking quite out of shape as we go through Chapel now and onto the Hanger Straight. Ole right up the gearbox of Craig Tommy, and he's going to make a move now, side by side. Meanwhile, here's Kurbold going for a move down the inside of Stowe. Can't make that one work. But here we go. Ole not able to make a move around the outside. Craig defends that well. Will he send one to the inside of Village? He can't do that either. Position stay as they are. Calzo leads us across the line to start the second lap, and it's been relatively clean so far. Ole in the slipstream of Craig Tommy. What can he do? Not space down the inside, maybe saving it for the next straight coming up soon. DRS not enabled yet. A little bit further forward, here's Chappelle. Can't quite make a move in that racing point. Can't stick it on the Haas. Chain Game having a good start to get up into P2. Here's these two battling yet again. Looks like the McLaren was somewhat shoved off the track. It seemed a pretty fair move from Ole as he forces his way up into P7, and he can focus on getting up to Rusland, who's just about a second off the road. There's Kurbold talking about going off the road. He went very wide there. It can be easy to pick up a penalty, so drivers have to be careful through cops, and hopefully we'll see no disqualifications like we did in Canada. But here's Chappelle, he's very close to Chain Game. It looks as if he had a good run off Chapel. Chain Game going to cover the inside line. He's going to show VRT Chappelle the long way around Stowe. This will be an impressive move if he can make it work. He's going to get shoved off the track though. He's kept his foot in though, to be fair, which will then grant him the inside line for Club. But it looks like Chain Game is still there, and they're still side by side. And similar to Verstappen and Leclerc in real life, VRT Chappelle shoved off the track, and all the time these two are battling is giving Calzo more and more of a lead. Into turn number 1 now. Chain Game has gone very wide, and you can see he's actually off the track there. He'll have to give the position to Kurbold, who makes it up into P3 in the Ferrari. DRS now enabled, so the Ferrari will have it on the racing point. Does he have enough drag, or enough straight line speed I should say, to make a move? further back, it looks like TNR Chonis is very close to Chain Game. Looks to the inside, can't make one work there. And positions stay as they are. Well, as they were. The big loser from that was Chain Game. Tried to make a move. And ended up losing 2. I'm sure the stewards might dive into that a little bit later. But I don't think there's too many complaints there. As we will be keeping our eyes on the penalty list, because it's quite easy to pick some up here. But it looks like the drivers are being pretty well behaved so far. Looked like Chain Game was a bit more confident through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel than Kerbold. He's closing. I don't think he's not quite close enough though to make a move. Again, close but no cigar. There's a little bit of contact there into club. Can't make it work though. The Haas driver still houndering. The Ferrari, he is close. Turn 1, not a place to make a move. He's going to have to sit back. For now, he got a very good run now. These two are going to be side by side. 2 Ferrari-powered cars. The Works car and the Haas. Chain Game goes around the outside. A good move from himself. Kerbold, though, hangs it in. And he's actually got supreme protraction. He's going to go around the outside. Who picks up DRS? It's the Haas who picks up DRS. And with them being side by side, that's going to give him the position. Kerbold, he's going to try around the outside though. That's a very ambitious move. And he's kept it there. They're still side by side as they go into left field now. And incredible from Kerbold to keep his foot in and keep P3. But for how long will he be able to keep it? Here comes Chain Game. They're going to be side by side into the old turn 1. They're not as into cops. Kerbold gets ahead. And what a battle there between those two drivers. Keeping it very clean. But putting on a great show for us. Meanwhile, Chappelle is pulling away from Kerbold. As Kerbold, the Ferrari gets on the grass, which is going to not set his exit up very well. There goes Chain Game around the outside. Looking further back, here's Ruslan battling. Chain Game gets the position done. Ruslan moving past Chonis. Chonis still there on the outside though. Ole's got a front row seat of this. If this blows up, he could easily find himself in 3rd position. The Renault and the Alfa Romeo side by side. There goes Chonis around the outside. Not Chonis, Ole, I do apologise. Trying around the outside. He nearly made that work, but Rusland covering it off. And it looks like Chonis struggling through turn number 1. He's all over the place with his rear tyres. Rusland can't make a move work around the outside. Meanwhile, there's a bit of contact there between Ole. I can't imagine that would set him up incredibly. He might have front wing damage. Kerbold in the slipstream. And DRS activated, but he's not going to be able to make a move. Meanwhile, these 3 stay as they were. As they have been. Nearly a bit of contact there. Rusland, who's in an Alfa Romeo sandwich at the minute. Getting quite cozy with the 2 of them. No position movements as yet though. Tino Chonis lagging about quite a bit. So drivers will have to be quite wary of him. Yeah, Chonis again getting all over the place on the exit. What can Rusland do now? In the slipstream, DRS activated down the hanger straight. And he's going to get that position into Stowe. Good move there from the Renault driver. He moves himself up into P5. And if he can fight on close a second to the car ahead, he's in the battle for a podium. Chonis looked down the inside then. I don't know if that was to scare him, to scare Ruslan. But it looks like the 2 Alfa Romeos now. They were side by side. I think Ole actually passed his teammate. I'm not sure if that was an engineered swap or not. But Ole now set clear. And Kerbold trying to push on. Still battling with Chain Game. Chain Game not able to not able to pull a gap to the Ferrari driver. Kerbold now with the DRS. He's going to tuck into the slipstream. Chain Game trying to break the slipstream. Kerbold not close enough there to make a move. And now through this middle sector, the dirty air is going to start hurting the tyres of the Ferrari driver. You can see Kerbold almost out of VRS as well, so he's going to have to start considering managing his ERS and start bringing that back to a good level. Silverstone is a track that is quite nasty on the ERS. It's very high consume. High consume? Is that a word? It's got a high amount of energy consummation. And you can see Kerbold out of ERS, so he's not able to charge up the battery enough to have a go on the Haas driver, so he's got to, you know, turn the engine down, maybe drop back for a lap or two, then have another go. 3-second time penalty as we ride on board for the Ferrari driver. I believe that's his first of the race as we start lap 7 of this 26 lap race. I'd imagine we're going to be seeing a one-stop from the drivers onto the hard tyres. However, don't be surprised if we see someone maybe going to a 2-stop. Looks like the Alfa Romeo is again getting pretty cozy in the background. Here's on board now with TNR Chonis. Looks like his teammate Ole is actually quite close and might be attacking Rusland. He's not actually close enough to attack, and position stay as they were, as do they ahead with Kerbold and Chain Game. Ole is very close to Rusland. Is he close enough to put a move into Cops? Not quite. He thought about it. He definitely showed his wing, but nothing he could do there. Rusland picks up a 3-second time penalty. Here's Kerbold now. Does he have enough ERS? There's a yellow flag in Sector 2. V Todd in the Williams is off. Oh, that's rather ruined his day, if it wasn't bad enough already. Kerbold not close enough to make a move on Chain Game. As we start the next lap, Kerbold again within 4 tenths. He's sitting in that gap really nicely, but the problem is he's not using his ERS efficiently, as Ole has managed to sweep past Rusland. However, one disadvantage of that would be Rusland will have the DRS. There is Chonis, who seemingly made a very aggressive move on the Renault, and there was contact there. I don't think that was at fault of the Renault. I think it's just maybe a racing incident or the Alfa Romeo's fault, but that has ruined Rusland's chances of getting a run at Ole this lap. So we continue on now in this midfield battle, and the battle for the final podium position as it stands at the moment. Don't be surprised if we see some pit stops coming in soon. That's a big off track there for Kerbold. Nevertheless, he's close to the yellow flag in Sector 2, and there, off goes TNR Chonis and the Alfa Romeo. He'd been teasing it for a while, and there you can see it's happening, and yet again, you can see Kerbold almost running out of ERS, so he really needs to bring that down, and start to think more tactically. Can he send one down the inside? He's going to have a little look. Chain Game just sort of half-heartedly gives him the space. But however, clean driving, position stay as they are for now. You can see Kerbold really close now. His tyres are in a much better condition than those, another 3-second time penalty, but his tyres in a better condition than those of the Haas's just up the road from him. However, if he keeps picking up time penalties, he's going to start to have some problems come the end of the race. Chonis in the pits for a new set of tyres and a front wing. After his accident, he's going to be needing a safety car to have any chance of getting anywhere in this race. Meanwhile, there's a bit of a train of 4 starting to close up. For the first time in this race, we're going to go on board, temporarily on board. We're going to have a little look at El Calzo. He took the lead from pole at the start. He's held that gap. However, that gap is very slowly coming down. You can see all over the place through Maggots and Beckett's. So those rear tyres must be going off, and not in the best of conditions. So we might see VRT Chappelle maybe make a challenge. We're going to get the details of the tyres up. As I mentioned it, there goes LR Calzo into the pits. Chappelle carries on, so he'll be going for an overcut strategy. Here's Curbold, yet again, can't quite make it work, and yet again another off track. Chain game, Curbold, stay out, Ole pits. So himself and Calzo are the ones who pit. Medium tyres it is for Calzo. Will he be able to take those to the end of the race? It's quite a high degradation circuit, Silverstone. Got 10 laps on the softs, he should be able to make it without any troubles. We'll have to see. I'd imagine Ole would be going onto the mediums as well. Yes, he will. See, he pulls away. So we're going to follow the onboard of Calzo on this outlap to see if he can undercut, if he can undercut VRT Chappelle. Between those two, you lose about 27 seconds for a pit stop here. At Silverstone, on average, it's quite a long pit lane. And you can see at the moment the gap between the leader and LR Calzo is about 27 seconds, so it'll be very close if the gap stays the same. So Calzo now has to push, get a move on this in lap. See if he can make a move. A 3-second time penalty for Rusland by Race Control, from Race Control I should say. Looks like Calzo's had a good outlap so far, closed a couple of tenths on the leaders. A 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane for VRT Chappelle, and that's going to ruin his race if he serves that. Well, he's going to ruin his race anyway, but it's going to put him even more of a pickle if he serves this at this pit stop. The crew don't wait, so he's going to be coming out. Going to be interesting to see where Calzo is. He's closed about 7 tenths this lap. Will it be enough though as he goes through the final corner? VRT Chappelle is at the exit of the pit lane now. He won't know that Chappelle has that penalty. However, Calzo successfully undercuts his opponent and gains about a second, so VRT Chappelle not able to make that overcut work. His own Ole, who pitted a lap early, will he be able to make the undercut work? You can see there's chain game, so he's actually successfully undercut the Ferrari of Curbold, and now with warmer tyres is right up behind chain game, and he might be able to have a run for the final podium position as we go into this back straight. I don't think he'll be close enough, but DRS nevertheless will close them up. So good job there from the Alfa Romeo to jump 2 cars. 1 or 2 cars, I'm not entirely sure, but nevertheless a great job. And he's put himself in contention for a podium position. Everyone on the live chat, how are you doing? Hope you're having a good night. As we're on lap 11 of 26. Ole getting very close to chain game. Ole looking very confident on these medium tyres, definitely more confident than his Haas rival. He's going to send one down the inside. Chain game successfully hangs it around the outside. However, just looks as if chain game's got no grip on those tyres. Ole surely not going to try one around the outside. He's not. He backs out of it, probably for the best. However, he's going to come back. Can't quite send one around the outside whilst these guys are battling. Curbold behind is closing up. Ole does have DRS for the next straight, a front row seat here. Ooh, there's nearly some contact there between Ole and chain game. DRS activated for Ole. What will Curbold do? Will he sit back or try and send one around the outside? There goes Ole down the inside, moves past up into P3, and Curbold swoops around the outside. A great move from himself to get up into P4. So chain game has lost 2 positions in the space of 2 corners. And it looks like chain game might actually be coming back at him. Can't make that work. So yeah, an unfortunate sequence of corners for chain game. However, we know Curbold has a few penalties, so if chain game keeps it clean, he should be able to at least keep that position, but I'm sure he'll be wanting that podium position. Again we can see Kurbold running out of ERS, which is struggling and causing him to potentially lose the position as Chain Game goes around the outside. This will be an aggressive move, and a very good one if he can stick it. He can indeed, a very good move from himself. Kurbold can't come back. And Chain Game back up. Has he finally found his confidence and speed on those medium tyres? He will, unless he has any dramas through turn 1. He will get DRS on the Sauber, not the Sauber, the Alfa Romeo. Sauber obviously changing their name to Alfa Romeo at the start of the 2019 season. You can see the Rich Energy Haas really opening up turn number 4. Now he's on the power, down the hanger straight. Not the hanger straight, I do apologise, but down the inside goes Chain Game. Can he make this one work? Looks like Owen Ole very confident, hanging it around the outside, but a switchback line for Chain Game is going to hand him the inside through Luffield and onto the exit of Woodcote, down the old start-finish straight into Copse Corner. Ole still has the advantage over his rival and still has that final podium position. A great defensive drive so far from Ole. However, it just looks as if Chain Game is a lot more confident now he's found his feet on these medium tyres. He'll get DRS again. Does he have enough ERS? Does he have enough power to force through? Gonna take... Well, it was a late defense from Ole. Around the outside goes Chain Game, similar to what he did on Kurbold. He's made that move and is now up into P3. Ole can't come back to him. That's a very good move from the Haas driver. It looks as if he'll start to pull away now. And Kurbold has to now look forward, and he'll see Ole. How well can Ole stick with Chain Game though? That is the question on all of our minds. He will have DRS, and he chooses not to tuck into the slipstream, so maybe Ole happy to just sit in the slipstream and get towed along, which could keep him safe from an attack from Kurbold, which could be some very smart driving from Ole if it pays off. We'll have to see. A little brief twirl back to the front. Looks like LR Calzo pulling a gap to VRT Chappelle. Oh no, it does look quite aggressive, so maybe he won't just be sitting in the slipstream. Todd only P9. V-Todd has struggled a lot today. So we can see the Sauber, the Alfa Romeo, I keep getting that wrong. The Alfa Romeo battling with the Haas, so not sitting down, not sitting back. Here he goes around the outside. Couldn't see it because of the off-board camera shot. But that's a really impressive move from Ole to go all the way around the outside. Shades of Leclerc and Gasly from Silverstone in real life. Really impressive job there from Ole to move past. And he's got DRS to pull him even more clear. And Chain Game not able to come back, so impressive job. Here's Rusland, who's closed about a second up to Kurbold. Looks like it's all very close in the battle for fifth and the battle for third. Looks like we might have two simultaneous battles as we come down the hanger straight. Both drivers in this battle tidy through Chain Game. There's the move. Kurbold must have made a mistake through Maggots and Beckett's. So that's handed Rusland P5. Here goes Chain Game for the final spot of the podium. Down the inside of Stowe. Ole still on the outside though. He's hung it there very well. Switchback from Chain Game. Can't make it work. He's going to have to sit behind for at least another 4 corners or so. Damaging his tyres all the time. He's close. Will he send one? He is going to send one. Down the inside goes the Haas driver. Can he get it stopped just about? Yes, he can. Remember, the Haas will have DRS for being behind before turn 3. So Ole's going to struggle if he's in the DRS. This is what Ole did last lap. As you can see, the Haas with DRS now pulling away. So a good strategy. An interesting strategy, but a good one from these drivers to make a move before they have the DRS confirmed. Here he comes again. Ole is very close. Got a lot of VRS to play with. Both drivers with a similar level of VRS down the hanger straight under the bridge. Ole thinks about going to the inside. Stays behind for the time being though. So we now continue. Oh, very late on the brakes was Ole. I think that was just a simple mistake, but that's going to cost him about a second. It's going to open the gap back up, and that will give that's going to close Rusland up if anything, and it's going to give Chain Game a lot more breathing room than what he had before. And what this has actually done is bring Rusland within the DRS of Ole. Ole will not have DRS on Chain Game this lap, so he could be under threat from the Renault car. Not quite able to make it work though. But Rusland is nevertheless closing. Maybe he's been conserving his tyres his last couple of laps. Kept them alive, and then in these last 8 and 9 laps, will he be able to come alive and take a storm to the final place on the podium? All drivers on the medium tyre but Vitod, who pitted early after an incident at Copse. He is on the hard tyre. All these drivers scheduled to go to the end and will be going to the end unless one of them bags a chance for a free pit stop. If you're, say, Vitod or Craig Tommy, you may as well just pit if you can open up the gap a little bit more. Vitod, slightly different situation. To claim one extra point. 1 point for scoring the fast lap of the Grand Prix there. Because Ole going very wide and off the curb. That is going to give Rusland an opportunity. He chooses not to go for it into turn 1. Probably smart choice to not go to it. That could end in fireworks. As Ole, despite the mistake, is just about back within DRS of Chain Game ahead. These guys continue to battle. It might be a gap for a pit window to open up for Chappelle to maybe pit for the softs. Happy International Coffee Day to everybody watching. Hope you've had your coffee today. I certainly have. Driver still in formation. Will they break the formation? Ole is very close to the Haas. You can see Ole playing with the gears quite a lot there, getting the car turned in and on the exit. So I could be conserving the rears. He's very close now though, and with the DRS you'd think he'd be able to make a move on Chain Game. Yet again these two battling. It's a late defense offered from Chain Game as he covers the inside. That could raise a few questions in the steward's room. However, Ole sticks with P4. He does look the more confident one there, with 1 lap older tyres. Overheating is a possibility around a track like this. Very easy to overheat tyres. Oh, there's a mistake there for Ole. That's thrown all his good work away. He's down to P5 now. That's presented Rusland with the main opportunity. How close is Ole? Not close enough to make a move. 3-second time penalty for El Calzo. That could make things a little bit tight. However, we can't forget Chappelle has that 5-second time penalty. So even if Calzo does pick up another 3-second time penalty and Chappelle keeps it clean, he has to close within 1 second. The gap currently 4.3 seconds for the drivers. Battling over first place 1 and 2, 4.3 seconds. 4.4 is going up. So LR Calzo and the Red Bull led every lap of the race so far. Took pole position and is on to claim the win with 6 laps remaining. If you're just joining the stream, hope you're having a good night. Happy International Coffee Day for everyone watching. Looks like Rusland can't quite close up on those younger tyres. Then Ole behind. Ole 0.4 of a second and closing. That's Rusland with an off track there. What's Ole gonna do? He made a mistake here. This time last lap, keeps it clean through Maggots, Beckett's, and now through Chapel. Looked like Rusland though, very, very strong with the exit. Tucks into the DRS of Chain Game. He's not going to be able to make a move now. Down this hanger straight and into Stowe. Is he? Oh, he looks very late in the day from Rusland. Can't make away. That's an off track and a half from the Renault driver. He's not going to go down the inside. It's all getting a bit hot and sweaty in the battle for the final place on the podium. As I mentioned, while this is happening, VRT Chappelle still opening the gap to P3, so a free pit stop may be coming his way in a few laps time. Strap on a set of fresh softs. Rusland not able to make a move with the DRS. On board with Ole. Now there's a yellow flag in sector 3. That's Chonis, who's gone off. Another mistake from what's been a shocking race so far, and this might present V Todd in the Williams with an opportunity. He made a mistake at Cops on, I believe it was lap 7 or lap 8. Does Chonis have any damage? Looking at the front wing, I can't quite tell from that off-board shot. Looks like it's all functioning quite nicely, but it's a day to forget for Chonis. And we're going to have to continue. Back to the battle for P3. Rusland. Close. Not close enough, however. Again, an off track for the Renault driver. But I think he's keeping it clean. I don't think he's got too many penalties at the moment. But not able to make a move. Chain Game driving a stellar race so far, holding P3. That's a sideways moment for Rusland. He held it together very well, but you can see on the exit of Abbey, he just got all over the place, well held by the Renault driver, and now we'll be able to advance and take the position. It looks like Rusland struggling on the exit, so he must have overheated his tyres from that little brief moment. Rusland, DRS activated, can't go down the inside. Not close enough. Chain Game, again, another very good defense. T. Jonis goes into the pits. They'll be strapping on a fresh set of softs and pushing for the fastest lap, as advised by yours truly. Meanwhile, Curribolt's just dropped back. His pace has disappeared. Rusland still within the DRS. Struggling on the exit. The chain game has just got such a great exit. It's a nightmare to deal with for Rusland as he's just too far back to close up down the hanger straight. Into Stowe, he's not close enough. He likes that exit curb at Stowe though. Exit curb and a bit more. You don't want to be out there in real life, trust me. I've been there. Not fun. Rusland seems as if his rears are starting to go off. Seems a bit squirmy. He's very wide through Abbey. However, he's held it quite well. And he's close to chain game yet again. Dare I say slightly closer than laps gone by. Just looks as if chain game getting a really good exit all the time. And Rusland is left to try and make up with it on the straights. Rusland's still not able to make a move. As I mentioned, this gap is increasing between chain game and VRT Chappelle. 24 seconds it is. I don't know if there's going to be enough time left. Chappelle would have to pit on lap 25, or the end of lap 24, to have a go for the fast lap on the final lap of the Grand Prix, and he has a couple more seconds on that. So if he wants that, he's going to get a move on. However, I did notice that he... Oh, Rusland's off. Sorry, I missed that. I'm not sure if there's contact. I'm not sure how that's happened, but Rusland has gone round. I'm not sure if he would try to make a move down the inside. I will check that for you right now. Apologies. Yeah, so what happened is Rusland went down the inside of chain game. There was contact as they turned into the corner. And that's dropped him down to P5. He's lost a position in the battle for P3. Looks as if he had it. That one will definitely be looked at by the stewards later. Yes, I apologise, I was just doing some calculations on the gap between chain game and Chappelle. As I did that, I missed the move from Rusland. It was a late in the day move. You can wind back on the stream and watch it. Let us know who you think was at fault. Was it a racing incident? Here goes Ole now. Looks like it's going to be a second driver in as many laps. Yellow flag in sector 3. Chonis is off again. He's had a terrible day. However, here's Ole for a second lap in a row. Chain game defending into Stowe. This time there's no contact. Both drivers get through unscathed. Chain game has one lap fresher tyres than Ole behind. Remember, Ole did the undercut on Rusland and Kurbold and Chonis at the time. Was it? I can't remember if it was Chonis, but definitely Rusland and Kurbold. And here we go. Looks as if Ole matching the line of chain game through turn 3 and 4, which is going to give him a good exit. He's within half a second as DRS is opened. I'm sure he'll have all the engine mode that's available to him. I actually noticed he turned the DRS off there in the final parts of that straight, so he's quite content with sitting behind for the time being. Maybe he feels he stands his best chance next lap after charging up his DRS for a bit. Here we go, DRS and DRS, low ERS however. There goes Ole around the outside. Chain game again though, he's had such a good race, he's been defending that position all race. And he's done such a good job. Ole can't send one down the inside. Chain game Going deep there, that might leave him vulnerable and susceptible to an attack from Ole down the inside of turn number 1 at Abbey. Yes, here he goes. He's going to have to claim the opportunity onto the final lap of the race. They're going to go through turn 1. They're side by side as they rise up the crest of turn number 2 and into turn number 3. Chain Game just ahead. It's very, very close margins in it though between these two, and back on the power. How much fuel, how much ERS does Ole have to play with? He will have DRS. You can see Chain Game weaving to try and break the toe round the outside. Ole is going to try, can't quite make it work. A switchback line. Can he go around the outside of Luffield on what are very old tyres? He's going to be searching for a switchback line. Can't quite make that work. He's tucked into the slipstream though of Chain Game. He's not going to be able to make a move. I'd imagine he'd be sparing himself and his tyres for a move into Stowe, or maybe even a last ditch effort into one of the final corners. Further forward, Calzo sets the fastest lap of the race on the final lap. He's dominated today. What a drive from himself. Chappelle's going to come home in P2, but we wait now to see who will finish P3. It doesn't look like Ole's close enough. I think he spent too much of his DRS in his tyres. The early part of the lap. Chain Game with a good exit, not going to be vulnerable to an attack down the inside of Club. So it looks like Chain Game, after an excellent defensive drive, a drive of superlatives for Chain Game, will take the final spot on the podium. You can see he's happy, weaves across the line. Ole, a good drive from himself to undercut 2 cars up into P4. I'd say that's a good race for himself. Here comes Rusland through the final corner. 5th, not a bad race. Did however have the contact. What could have been? Maybe he could have grabbed the final podium spot. There's Curribold. Sort of made the mistake and never really came back. I think the tyres fell off the cliff for himself. Craig Tommy gets up into P6 for driving a clean race, getting past Curribold, who picked up quite a few penalties. And V Todd, who had the incident at the start, drove a decent race to keep it clean. As he's going to round the final 2 corners, and that is that. There's the podium, Scotsman in the Red Bull. First time you said that since David Coulthard in 2008. Top step of the podium for Calzo. Good drive from himself. Pole, the win, and the fastest lap. Triple crown for Calzo. Hope you've enjoyed this stream tonight. If you have enjoyed, make sure you like, subscribe. And there is the final podium shot. I hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you next time, guys.